Hello, BookTube. I'm Peg, the book prize addict, and I'm here today to have been gone for a while, but I've been reading right here in my sunroom just every day for, what, 3 months now, and I expect to be here quite a few more months. I'm in that group that is older group that's not you're supposed to go to all lengths not to catch the virus. So I'm doing that, and I have to say it's a time I'm glad I'm reading. Like to read so much and knit. I'll talk to you a little bit about my knitting later. Okay, I'm going to start reading some of the weird books I've bought over the years or found in used bookstores that are in unknown prizes that I kind of collect. As you know, I love the book prizes. Now, a big one came out last night, the Women's Prize shortlist, and there's a lot of good YouTube people on that talking about that. I'm not sure if I'll read that or not. I've kind of developed some unknown or little known prizes that I really like, and I have some of the books for, and I want to kind of delve into those for the next few months. Anyway, but I'm going to start out with saying one, I don't think it won a prize, but I would love to know if anybody out there has heard of or even read Miss McIntosh, My Darling by Marguerite Young. Now, this is the second volume. It is a huge 2-volume set. I have read about it for ages. It's one of those you might say masterpiece, 20th century masterpieces that it's really hard to get. I have been waiting. The second volume you can easily get used, but I have been waiting to get the first volume, and it finally came down a little bit cheaper after Christmas with some of my Christmas money. I bought this one. Unfortunately, it's not a match set to the other, but anyway, and I'm reading it very, very slowly, probably slower than even Sean reads some of his books, because it is what you would call maximalist writing, or what I call it, in the vein of maybe Will Self, Thomas Pynchon. Anyway, it's just packed with description and interesting things that are going through this woman's mind, is told from a young woman narrator. Now, a little bit about Marguerite Young. She was born in 1909 and in the Midwest, and as soon as she was able, I think 1940, she went to New York and became part of the writer set there in New York during the 40s and 50s, and said on the back that she had to do with Truman Capote. Who else? Other people I'm interested in. James Joyce, Melville, Bob. Anyway, she's compared to all the biggies, but it doesn't seem like a lot of people have heard of her. Anyway, so I'm carefully reading through it. I'd love to hear if somebody else might be reading through it. I'm really just reading like 10 pages a day because it's so rich and so full of description, and it's one of those you read and you're not really realizing if you're getting the story or not, because there's so much other stuff to look at. But then I look back and I am getting the story. I actually read a few reviews, kind of cheating a little bit, so I'll know what the story is. But this will be an ongoing process, so I'll report on this again. I'd love to know if anybody's tried it or heard about it. Okay, so that's my first thing. While I still have my sense about me, I read every morning with my coffee. Now, we're getting on to some of the, I've got lots of books that I've bought used from book prize, when book prizes come out, and I think I'm going to read them all. And I am trying to use this time to go back and read some of them. So I'll tell you a little bit about them. I'll give you links to the prizes they came from, in case you're interested in that. I like to look at what else had them. This book, The Root of Evil, by Nesser, is a translated mystery by Nesser from Sweden. This came from what's called the Dagger Prize. The Dagger Prize is a huge, mainly UK centered, that the mystery writers put on every year. It has lots of great areas. It has the best book, best mystery book or suspense, best debut, all kinds of things like that, best historical mystery. But they also have the one I love called Best International Dagger, and it's translated mysteries, and I love those. Other countries seem to have a different way with suspense and mystery and crime than we do, and they seem to be have more texture, have more characters, real characterization, and this one is excellent. This is one of those where he, I guess, had another detective that he had written about eight books about, and this was the second one on a new detective, which you don't have to have read the first. I did read the first, Inspector Barbarotti, and it's just amazing. It's really, really long. I used it as one of my mammoth, almost 600 pages, and it is amazing how they can keep how it can keep you so interested for that many pages. I really did just kind of keep reading. So that's good. And as I said, I'll put the list. You might want to try some of the others on the International Dagger list if you're into crime or suspense at all. As I said, they're really different than American or English ones, I think. Okay, next we have, I did make a video not too long ago about the best translated book award, which is given here out of the University of Rochester. I'm not sure. They have their long list out with 25 books. I'm not sure. I think everything's in confusion. I would have thought the short list would have been out by now, but it hasn't. So I'm just reading the ones I kind of thought I'd like. And this is an amazing one called 77. I'll let you determine what the name is. Guillermo. Anyway, this is interesting because it's translated fiction, and it's very literary. It takes place in Argentina, and it has to do with a teacher there, a male teacher, who is homosexual, and it's during the time of the terrorist where people keep disappearing, and they even come in his class one day. He has to live a very fake life because homosexuality is certainly not accepted and even, I guess, illegal. But it's really interesting because it also won a prize called the Hammett Prize, which is after Dashiell Hammett, the mystery writer that's known for his noir and dark mysteries in cities, etc. Now, I looked back at and I'll put the English Hammett Prize in here, but this one won the Spanish version of the Hammett Prize, and it says here on 2008. So it's amazing that something could be up for a literature prize and literary prize and actually have won a mystery award, and it is really good. I haven't quite finished, but it does have that feeling of noir and terror behind every thing you look at, and he never knows what's coming next. So it's good. I also am reading another one from that prize, the Best Translated Book Award, called The Boy. And this is translated from the French, and it actually won the Prix Femina, and I guess that's a women's prize. Like we have women's prize, which was just announced last night. So it comes with pretty good pedigree here. But this is really interesting. It's kind of long. The Boy is actually a story of, you hear about these children who grow up not seeing anybody in the woods somewhere with maybe one caretaker. He did have a mother, but really hadn't ever been in the world or seen people, and something happens and he has to go out into the world, and it's so well done. It's from his viewpoint of the way people are, the way they treat him. It's very realistic, and I'm liking this one a lot. So you might give that one a try if you're anxious to try one of these. Okay, let's see. What do I have next here? Have I missed any? Okay, I have here one I have had for a long time, and it's in terrible shape. I got it used, called Earthly Powers by Anthony Burgess, who wrote Clockwork Orange and other literary but different type novels. I think he wrote a lot in the 60s maybe and 70s. This one was on the Booker shortlist in 1980, and it was published in 1980. And it's funny, a couple of years ago I was making a YouTube, and I had my own bookcase right behind me, and this was on it. It's kind of, and Steve Donahue saw that it was on it, and he wrote, he hardly ever comments on mine, but he wrote, "This is a great book," or, read this one. So I've always meant to read it when I had some time. It's another thick one. So I made my way through it during the last few months, and it's really different and eye-opening. It's actually about two men. One is a writer, an aging writer, a famous, I guess, in this world, homosexual, and he's done well with his writing. He lives on an island off of Italy. He knows all the writers of that time from the 1960s. He meets, well, it's one of those where famous writers just kind of show up at the parties he goes to, and it seems so real. But anyway, and there's another man who has become Pope, who's vaguely related to him, and there's a lot about the upper echelons of the Catholic Church and things that go on there. Long story, long involved story, and it's kind of graphic. The sex is kind of graphic in some places. I'm surprised this in 1980, but anyway, but this is very interesting and gives you a feel for a modernist technique. It's just written kind of straight as it was. Time does go back and forth a little bit. But, yeah, so let me see. Is that all I was going to talk about? Seems like I had another, but I'm going to try to come back more often and talk about, how long is this? Oh, 12 minutes already. Talk about things more often than I've been, for sure. And I wanted to tell you about my crocheted sweater. Now, you can tell it's crocheted because it has bigger holes in it. Crochet's done with a big hook. And this, I have a little story behind this. I have a friend who gave me this amber necklace. She had lived and worked in Poland, I believe, and got it there. And she knows quite a bit about amber. She can tell how old it is, like thousands of years. It's, I guess, tree sap that's solidified. Anyway, so I decided I wanted to make a sweater to go with it, and so anyway, I used this. It's short sleeves, so it's not too hot. I can wear it in warmer weather. Here's a picture of it's long. Ooh, that's not very good. Anyway, you can tell it's almost a tunic, and I also have my cat necklace with me on too with it, so can't see that. Okay, so I'll be back soon, I hope. I've got quite a few other prize winners started. So take a look at these, and happy reading, everybody. Bye.